Hi everybody, welcome back. In this video, I'll be solving another SQL problem. Problem number 180, consecutive numbers. Let's take a look at the problem statement. We're given a table called logs. This table has two columns, ID and num. ID is the primary key for this table. ID is an auto-increment column. So our task is to find all numbers that appear at least 3 times consecutively. Let's take a look at the example. In this table, we see that this is the ID. ID is the auto-increment column. So this is the num that appeared. So this number 1 appeared 3 times. Number 2 appeared once. Number 1 appeared one more time again. And number 2 appeared twice. So in the output, we should see number 1. This is the number that appeared consecutively for at least 3 times. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's solve this problem. For this problem, we're looking for 3 consecutive numbers. In this case, I would use lag and lead function, and my expected output will return a column for lead, which is the number before this one, which is this line here, and the lag will return this row, and this is the current row, right? And I will compare if lead equal to this number and lag also equal to this number, meaning that this number appeared 3 times consecutively. So let's do that. I'm going to create a table that has 3 columns. The lag column, which is the column that stores the number prior to the current number that I'm comparing with, the number itself. And the last column would be the lead column, which stores the number that is next to this current number that I'm comparing with. So I will create the table, and you will see, when you see the result, you'll understand it much better what I meant. All right, so select, I'm going to create a lag num. If you're not familiar with the lag and lead window functions, you can check my other videos where I use lag functions a lot. And if not, you can Google window functions with lead and lag, and you can see there's a lot of examples and practice examples, so you can get familiar with these functions. So it's gonna be lag number, right, over. We don't partition by anything. By default, it will partition by, like, it will take the whole, like, each individual row as a partition. So we don't need to use partition by, but we need order by ID, right? And we call this column lag number. And like I said, this will be a column, and then next to it, I want num columns, and then lead num over, and we also order by ID, and we call this column lead num, right, from logs. So let's print this. Take a look what the output looks like. All right, so like I said, so this is the current num. So this num will compare to its lag num. Because we don't have the lag num, it's going to be null, and the lead num of this, like this number 1 here, is this one. So similarly, we take a look at this num right here. Its lag number is 1 and lead number is 1, and then we'll compare. So if this is 3 consecutive number, then the lag num has to be equal to num, and num has to be equal to lead num. Similarly, let's take a look at this number, right? Its lag num is 1 and its lead num is 2. So the number is equal to its lag, but it's not equal to its lead. So these 3 are not consecutive. Same thing with number 2. its lag num is 1, its lead num is 1. So the num is not equal to both of it's both sides, so these three are not consecutive. Right, so this is what we need, and we are going to turn this into a subquery, or you can use CTE, but I think subquery will be simple. In this case, it's a simple case, so we just need to use subquery instead of CTE. So I'm gonna select num. So this is num. We select this number from num column, and we call this column consecutive nums. Consecutive nums, right? From this subquery right here, where, right, like I say, the three numbers are consecutive if num, like the number in the middle right here, if num equal to its lag num, and it also equal to its lead num. All right, let's run that. What is its own alias? Okay. Oh, I forgot to give this subquery a name, so we can call this number. Number looks like it's a function, so let's do consecutive number. How about that? Okay. Okay, so accepted. Let's submit it just to make sure we don't run into any edge cases, and if there are, we need to handle it as well. There we go. We have 3 test cases that weren't passed. Consecutive. Okay, so number 3 consecutive. Oh, this number appeared 3 times, at least 3 times. Oh, because right here, this is a good example. So because I'm using lag and lead, so if I compare this is not the number that should be returned, but this is the number that should be returned. And this also should be returned because it meets the requirement, the condition here. So in this case, we are going to select distinct, right? Let's submit that again. Select distinct. There was a typo. All right, so I passed all the test cases. Runtime 2392 milliseconds, beats 5.2% of users. Not sure why it's low, but it's sometimes different time when you submit it, it will give different runtimes. So this time is even higher. Let me submit that again. All right, so this time is 795 milliseconds, beats 97.93% of users with MySQL. All right, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.